Let's get straight to the point. Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus, is a badass first-person shooter. Killing Nazis in this game is really a lot of fun. You can hack them apart with a hatchet, blast them away with dual shotguns, and melt them with energy weapons. Whichever way you choose to dispose of the Nazi menace in this game, you have quite a bit of fun whilst doing it. However, there's more to this game than you might expect. The story and characters in Wolfenstein II are better than they have any right to be. This makes for a game that has a lot more to offer the player than a simple thrill ride. Wolfenstein II picks up pretty much immediately where the first game left off. You of course take on the role of BJ Blazkowicz once again, after a close encounter with death where the first game ended. The cast of characters from the first game return, as well as some new faces that get recruited along the way. The basic setup of the game is that BJ and his friends are trying to set up a resistance movement in Nazi-occupied USA. The basic plot is fairly straightforward and easy to follow, but the interactions between the game's ensemble cast is where the storytelling in this game really shines. I don't want to spoil too much of this game for you, but there are definitely some memorable moments during BJ's adventure. Sequences that delve into BJ's backstory are particularly well done, and do a really good job of making him feel like a real person and not just a generic video game character. If you enjoy a story to go along with violence, then this game should deliver something satisfying for you to dig your teeth into. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about killing Nazis. During the game's 10 or so hour runtime, about 80% of that involves shooting and maiming a lot of Nazi scum. Luckily, killing Nazis in this game is pretty damn fun. The game is a decent assortment of weaponry for the player to take advantage of. There's a pistol, some machine gun, assault rifle, full-auto shotgun, grenade launcher, and there's also a laser weapon that can destroy enemy cover. All the weapons in this game are fun to use and also serve different purposes as well. Blasting enemies away with a dual-wield shotgun is pretty damn fun as you would expect, but I also used the pistol all the way through the game, which was a nice surprise. Each weapon has strengths and weaknesses and will prove useful at some point in the game, which I appreciated. You also occasionally get to use heavy weapons which you find in the world. These are more devastating weapons which have a limited ammo and also slow BJ down when he's using them. The heavy weapons are fun to use, and the game will often give you one during heated exchanges to help you turn the tide of battle in your favour. The actual gunplay in Wolfenstein 2 is fairly standard for the genre. You can aim down sights when not dual wielding, putting off headshots will net you a one-hit kill, and so on. Wolfenstein 2 doesn't try and reinvent the wheel, it just wants to be a damn good FPS, and it achieves that seemingly without even trying. What makes Wolfenstein 2 so damn fun to play is the sheer pace of it all. If you wish, you can go from one encounter to another at a breakneck pace, murdering all the Nazis as you go. This game simply never lets up on the action. The only real time the game lets up is during optional stealth sequences, and when in the game's hub area. The stealth in this game is about what you would expect. The commanders from the first game return, and will call in reinforcements if they are alerted. You can sneak through areas performing stealth takedowns, throwing axes, and pulling off headshots with silenced weapons. It's fairly enjoyable, but after a while it does become a bit stale. Going around and killing everyone with guns is a lot more fun and also a lot quicker too. Wolfenstein 2 has a few ways for BJ to enhance his abilities as he makes his way through Nazi-occupied America. There's a perk system in place that rewards you with passive bonuses as you play. Performing certain actions will let you level up these perks, with them capping at level 5. For example, if you perform 10 stealth takedowns, then the perk will level up to level 2 and you'll get a 10% bonus in crouching movement speed. There are about 20 of these perks in the game, and they do give some goals for you to work towards whilst you play. Having said that, they don't really impact the game that much. As you play through the game, the passive bonuses don't really feel like they make BJ that much stronger, to be honest. There's a more direct way to improve BJ's combat abilities though, using weapon upgrade kits. You will spend quite a bit of time in Wolfenstein scavenging for ammo, health and armour. Occasionally you will find a upgrade kit that you can use to improve one of your weapons. Each weapon can be upgraded 3 times, and these upgrades do make quite a big impact on how each weapon performs. Shotgun being my favourite weapon, I naturally fully upgraded it. Once fully upgraded, the shotgun can fire 3 rounds simultaneously, has ricochet pellets, and also has a huge 40-round box magazine. It becomes, quite fittingly, a machine of death. Some of the other weapons in the game have quite a significant impact too once upgraded. Picking the pistol with a silencer makes it a perfect stealth weapon. Also, giving the grenade launcher the rocket upgrade makes it much more deadly, as the projectiles will explode on impact rather than bounce. I rather enjoyed the weapon upgrade system in Wolfenstein 2. It's quite fun to take your arsenal of weapons and give them a boost or change their functionality entirely. In between doing the game's story missions, you can spend as much time as you like in the hub area of the game. BJ and crew have a U-boat, which was stolen in the first game, which acts as the game's base of operations. There's quite a bit to do in this area as well. Characters will often give you side missions to complete, which eventually lead to a reward, which I will talk about later. There's an arcade version of Wolfenstein 3D, a shooting range, and there's also the Enigma machine. Commanders that you kill during the game's missions will drop codes that need to be deciphered at your home base. Once you decipher one, you will get a new Nazi to kill. This involves going back to an area you've been to previously and killing the target. It's basically a way to give you something to do outside of the main story. If you'd like to get value out of your games, Wolfenstein II has it in spades. Finishing the story and completing all of the side content would likely take you about 15 hours or so the game does justify its price tag, considering that there's no multiplayer in this single player only first person shooter. But halfway through Wolfenstein 2, the player is given a choice to take one of 3 permanent upgrades. You can either choose the Walker, the chest compressor, or a piece of body armour. Each one of these bestows you with unique abilities. I chose the Walker ability and was actually a little bit disappointed by it. The Battle Walker lets you walk on stilts to get to high areas, as well as bestowing you with a couple of passive abilities. This does let you get to high up areas if you wish, but the stilts aren't actually that useful in combat. For one, they slow you down, and also make you a bit of a target when you're up in the air. As a result, I didn't actually use them that much during the game. There are a few areas where you are forced to use the stilts for story progression, but it feels a little bit half-baked, to be honest. Seeing as the player can only choose one of these upgrades, the level design has to accommodate all 3 of them at the same time. The other 2 upgrades let you smash through walls and squeeze through tight spaces. As a result, you will often come across a ledge that can only be traversed using the stilts. Quite often though, the other 2 ways to progress will be there also, making the decision of which one you chose a little bit meaningless in the end. Having said that though, it does help freshen the game up a bit, and the second half of the game does give you a few new toys to play with. The level design outside of the abilities is quite well done though. Most areas in the game are quite large and give the player plenty of different approaches to complete your objective. There are rewards for exploring and taking your time to look for secrets also, as there are often hidden bits of armour and things to find. The game also has quite a few varied locations as well. You'll find yourself in a radiation-ridden New York, New Orleans, and in the desert of New Mexico. The game actually does quite a good job of making Nazi-occupied America feel alive and real. There's one part of the game where a Ku Klux Klan man is walking around, which was quite fitting considering the scenario. The weird omission this game does have though is that there are no boss encounters. The boss encounters in the first game were quite a bit of fun, and they are noticeably absent in this sequel. With all that said, you've probably realised by now that I'm quite fond of Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus. Outside of a few nitpicks, there really is very little to complain about. Wolfenstein II is how you make a single player first person shooter. It keeps you entertained the whole way through, has characters and a story that are actually enjoyable, and has content to keep you busy for hours. The game also looks and runs damn well on PC as well. I don't think the game actually dropped below 60 frames per second during my entire playthrough. If you like single player first person shooters, then I'd recommend that you buy Wolfenstein 2 as soon as you can, because you really don't want to miss this one. In the spirit of BJ Blazkowicz, killing Nazis is just too damn fun.